Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you have joined us for the Small Cap Growth Conference. Our next presentation of the day is from Bitzero. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Mohammed Bakashwin, Founder, President, and Chief Executive Officer of Bitzero, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol BTZRF and on CSE under the symbol BITZ. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. By way of background, Bitzero, we have went public November 2025 on the CSE and recently have listed on the OTCQB. By way of background, Bitzero was founded in 2021 and today, fast forward, has secured up to 1 gigawatt of growth capacity across its sites that it has acquired since 2021 to date, which we will be getting into further down. We operate, develop, and generate revenue through AI compute and Bitcoin mining, both in each site simultaneously. As an overview, Bitzero was founded in 2021, focused on disrupting the energy-intensive businesses through placing itself in sustainable footprints that will change the view of the public on energy-intensive businesses and show everyone that it is possible to operate energy-intensive businesses while still being sustainable and environment-friendly, while also providing the scale and growth that other energy sources would provide. As mentioned, we were founded in 2021. So far, we have secured 4 sites across various jurisdictions, and we've reached a mining capacity of 2.8 exahash. Our total growth capacity, as mentioned earlier, is up to 1 gigawatt. That 1 gigawatt is staged across our 4 sites, which we'll get deeper into further in the slides. The company has raised, while private, 75 million approximately in equity and an additional 25 million in debt financing prior to bringing this growth platform to the market. Our growth strategy. Our growth strategy spans from acquiring sites as a first step, developing the infrastructure from the ground up, which gives us security on our operations, and then monetizing those assets and that infrastructure via multiple avenues, AI compute and HPC applications, as well as Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining has been our focus for cash flow generation. AI compute and HPC is our focus for long-term secure revenues and upside. Our investment highlights. The growth capacity secured thus far is extremely difficult to replicate with the high demand of power in the world today. Flexibility in our assets that allow us to serve any energy-intensive businesses due to us being in control of our infrastructure and in control of our power foremost. It gives us the flexibility to serve any energy-intensive businesses, whether it's cloud, Bitcoin mining, AI compute, or any technology that comes out in the future will be able to leverage our footprint and our access to power, which is the commodity today. Our power cost is extremely competitive, some of the lowest power costs in the world, below $4 per kilowatt hour, all in, including additional tariffs, charges, taxes, and we're extremely proud of achieving that rare number across the world. Average power prices across the world span between 7 and 12 cents for industrial use. Our sustainability, again, BitZero is looking to show that scale and growth can be delivered in a sustainable, environment-friendly manner. And BitZero enjoys a team that has operational expertise in across the sector, whether it be from HPC, network, energy infrastructure, real estate, and finance. All together gives security on execution, which is proven in our flagship site in Norway, which we will get into shortly. It's important to note demand for power has outstripped any other form of demand in the industry recently because of AI compute and the need for workloads across the large tech names. The hunger for power only ever is increasing. That 255% increase in HPC demand is only growing. Grid scarcity and access to power is only getting thinner and thinner in a lot of jurisdictions, and capital is flowing in those industries from the largest institutions in the world. In data centers, we have seen recently a lot of financings that total multiple billions of dollars, and to provide those data centers, multiples of that are being invested in energy generation, connections, and grid, which places BitZero at the intersection of institutional flow of funds trend right now. Our assets portfolio. Our assets portfolio started with our Namsskogan, Norway site, in which we have proven our execution expertise and our ability to operate and run energy-intensive workloads and/or mining facilities. The site has been fully developed from the ground up by BitZero. North Dakota is our second acquisition, and that was a long-term view of BitZero to acquire a U.S. asset that can provide capacity and security around data. Rørvik in Norway is an extension to our first site, being very close in proximity and can go up to 20 megawatts of power. The last but not least, Kokemäki, Finland is our largest acquisition to date. It's a 971,000 square meter property spread across 3 plots of land that are strategically spread across a footprint that would make a data center campus capable of serving all industries and providing special spec'd units for hyperscale clients and/or other uses for intensive energy consumption. Our Norway site, our operational site, currently is operating 40 megawatts of capacity with 110 megawatts already granted, secured, and de-risked to be delivered during 2026 to go live. All long lead items, infrastructure, permits have been achieved for that. So that 110 megawatts is fully de-risked and scheduled to go live during 2026, with an additional 200 megawatts to follow after. North Dakota, again, one of our special assets, is a 225,000 square feet reinforced bunker space It was a Cold War era relic that Bitzero had acquired and is looking to leverage the demand of HPC compute and the scarcity of grid capacity in the United States to provide a secure yet non-nuisance to local communities location for intensive energy workloads. And that site can be developed up to 300 megawatts of total capacity in stages. And in short term, it could start with 30 megawatts of capacity up to 100 megawatts. Our second Norway site, adjacent nearby our Namsskogan site, can go up to 20 megawatts of capacity and serves as an accelerator between phases of the development of the Namsskogan facility. Kokemäki, Finland, again located in the same conditions as our Norway site in terms of cooling, power, and local authorities' support, provides us with ample space to develop a state-of-the-art data center campus across short of 1 million square meters, and to start with a 200 megawatt phase scheduled for 2027, and further 800 megawatts in the largest plot of land, being a 700,000 square meter plot, the largest of our 4 plots, to house 800 megawatts of capacity and provide it to the best intensive energy use that Bitzero would like to allocate it to. Key partnerships that Bitzero has entered into to leverage the HPC space and make the most out of its assets. Bitzero has appointed CBRE and its teams, whether it be engineering or sales, to take the initial 200 megawatts in Finland to market to a hyperscale tenant. To put that into perspective, 200 megawatts is comparable to the largest transactions of hyperscale tenants that have been seen over the last 6 months with various public companies, and those contracts are usually including cash flows of billions of dollars over the lease term. The HydroHost partnership allows us to further leverage a higher margin segment of the AI compute industry by rolling out our own GPU capacity and leasing the compute power itself, which allows us to have a higher margin than leasing long-term to hyperscale tenants in order to provide our investors the best of both worlds alongside the upside of Bitcoin mining. Our target growth plan for the Namsskogan facility, as we can see, we are now at 2.8 exahash January 2026. As mentioned earlier, the 110 megawatts is de-risked to be delivered at the end of 2026. Filling that capacity with mining equipment will allow us to reach a compute power of 10 exahash, which is comparable to some of the largest miners in the market. And in stage 2, the 200 megawatt expansion of Namsskogan will allow us to reach a 30 exahash compute power in a Bitcoin mining sense. Our management team. Myself, I will get into a bit of background. I hold a master's degree in real estate development and investment from London. I was an early investor in crypto since the early 20-teens. I've co-founded a financial intermediary in Switzerland focusing on crypto products and services, and looked to find a way to tag tangible assets and underlying value to the crypto market. And that drove me to mining, being from a real estate background. I wanted to bring both worlds together, and mining was the answer at the time. Giovanni Gaudenzi, our head of finance, with a background in banking for more than 20 years across various banking institutions, including JP Morgan and Credit Suisse. Igor Kostyachenko, our CFO, is a CFA and held multiple positions in various companies. Frank Adnevik, our CEO of Norway. His background is in network and data center development from an infrastructure point of view. He has been developing fiber networks across the Nordics and energy infrastructure for the past 15 years. And we enjoy support and a strategic investment from early days of founding from Kevin O'Leary. Our board of directors consists of myself, Giovanni, Claudia Diorio, who holds board positions in Canadian public institutions and pensions, Gilles Seguin, who is our chairman. He is the vice chairman of BCF LLP, a law firm in Montreal, and has been with the company since inception. Our fully diluted cap table today is around 60 million shares outstanding. We've raised 100 million to date between debt and equity, as mentioned earlier. All of that has been invested in the ground in our infrastructure, and the majority in our Norway site, the balance in compute power and mining equipment. Some of our media coverage over the last year. Please feel free to refer to our website for all our press releases and other media coverages. Our usual disclaimers. Thank you very much. So I see a question here on CBRE. What is a realistic win for us in the next 12 months? A realistic win for us in the next 12 months with that engagement is to secure a hyperscale tenant for our 200 megawatts of capacity in Finland starting 2027. As we mentioned earlier, demand for power is extremely high, and a lot of the large hyperscalers are looking for capacity as far out as 2028, which places our online and go live dates right within the demand spectrum. I see a question around North Dakota. How quickly we can unlock the 100 megawatts that require grid upgrades, and who funds the CapEx? The 100 megawatt upgrade requires some grid upgrades, and the capex so far is unidentified. We would require some support from the local authorities to develop that. The majority of the capex will have to be provided by Bitzero, subject to the availability of the connection points made available to us by the utilities. However, the initial 30 megawatts can be made available within a very short period of time. An initial load has been developed on the site already and ready to scale to 30 and then to 100. If we would put it in timelines, upon kicking off the development on the 100 megawatts, it would take approximately 18 months to fully develop and have the load ready. I see a question about AI customers paying a premium on sustainable power versus standard grid mix. They are paying a premium in general for shorter go-live dates. Whoever can bring capacity online sooner would be able to command their pricing. We see that so far. In terms of sustainable energy, we have not seen a premium being put on that specifically. However, our sites provide both short-term online dates and sustainable power loads. I see another question here about our forward-looking projections and the top two milestones we are looking to be held accountable for in 2026. So our first milestone is to roll out and operate our own GPUs, which have already been ordered and announced a few weeks ago in partnership with HydroHost. Those GPUs are already booked for Bitzero. They are the GB300s. They are the latest tech to date by NVIDIA. That is one milestone. The second milestone is getting the 110 megawatt load delivered live on site by Q4 this year. Given our current market valuation, do we see more value in deploying additional capital into self-mining AI HPC infrastructure or buybacks once you generate free cash flow? We see value into deploying capital in self-mining for the sole purpose that acquiring mining equipment is tied to the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin miners are priced based on their return on cash. Our strategy is we would not deploy capital in Bitcoin mining equipment unless it provides us, on the day that we deploy it, a minimum 70% return on cash on the cash invested. Agnostic to Bitcoin price, we would always follow that strategy, acquiring Bitcoin mining equipment. At any given point, whether Bitcoin is trading at 50,000 or 150,000, unless at the day of investment, that investment provides us 70% return on cash, we would not make that investment in mining equipment. On AI HPC infrastructure, the word infrastructure can be broken down into two parts. Infrastructure as in energy infrastructure and white space, absolutely. As in chips, I would also say absolutely. The demand for compute power and HPC loads is not slowing down, and we see the demand for that growing regardless of any sentiments or discussions in the market. Are we seeing any restrictions for crypto from regulators due to the narrow power markets? There are some discussions around regulating crypto mining in various countries. We have seen discussions in Norway as well. However, none of them are leaning towards a ban or leaning towards even increasing tariffs on such industries. Regardless of us being a mixed-use site, Norway has recently, without discrimination between HPC or Bitcoin mining, reduced the taxes on energy, which further reduced our energy cost. So what we're seeing so far is support to energy-intensive businesses to establish themselves in sustainable locations and in places with abundance of power. What are the 3 most relevant lessons from my prior real estate and blockchain experience that I have directly applied to building Bitzero? The first thing is selecting the assets very carefully and looking long-term on the value of these assets. At the time we've acquired these assets, they did not have the value they do have today. An asset such as our Norway site today is extremely valuable compared to what it was at the time of acquisition. And the revenues that could be generated from that energy load, just to put it in perspective, every 5 megawatts of AI compute, yes, it does cost a lot for the chips. So let's say 5 megawatts of AI compute will cost 180 to 200 million worth of investment in GPUs alone. However, they will bring in 60 million approximately a year in revenues. And that just puts it into perspective what 110 megawatts in revenue terms would look like upon delivering the 110 megawatts, shall we direct it to that use. So the underlying asset itself has consolidated its value with the market that we're seeing today. And that's one of 2 things that I've seen in the blockchain world is in blockchain, I've seen scarcity in investor education to get across the line, especially with traditional investors, and putting a real asset, a land and power and infrastructure and high voltage that resonates with a segment of investors that do not understand blockchain or will not venture into something they do not have a minimum understanding or comfort in. So both have driven me into founding Bitzero and finding the assets that I've found. If anyone would like to reach out, please feel free to reach out to Victoria at adcap.ca and schedule a meeting or ask any questions you might have. Thank you everyone for listening in today, and good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are.